Our last movie we're going to review is Hunger Games, the big theatrical release, the blockbuster of the year right now.
Yeah.
Kicking the crap out of it.
Got its money back on the first weekend.
Yeah, we're talking 50 million opening night. So. All right, so this one is based off the book novels, The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Kids are, well, the world had a little bit of a war, and the upper class kicked some butt. So lower class gets thrown into these districts to behave. They all have their own little place. One district is for coal mining, one district is for clothes production. But to remind them that they are the lower class, every year they have to give 2 volunteers, which is a teenage child,
12 to 18 years old, I believe,
to the Hunger Games, which is a broadcasted fight to the death super match. And when the victor wins, they get everything in the world. But there's only one victor, so 23 kids have to die. That's pretty much the plot. Follows Katniss, who's from District 12, and she's she's the hero. She has a family. Her little sister is picked, and she volunteers. So thus she becomes this light, and people symbolize with her. And then she gets befriended by some of the more rebellious upperclassmen, and then she gets thrown into the pit with Peeta, played by Josh Hutcherson, and he's got a crush on her, and that makes her gold in the minds of people. There's puppy love, and all the viewers love it.
Makes it for good reality TV.
And so then she has to kill a bunch of other kids. Jennifer Lawrence is the star. She's the one who plays Katniss. The acting in this is surprisingly good. They do not Twilight this one up. I'm really impressed by this movie. Jennifer Lawrence did good. Her last couple I've been pretty disappointed in, with the Light Crazy and Beaver. Well, Beaver I liked, but I didn't like her. X-Men First Class, she was terrible.
Yeah, she was really bad in that.
But she's doing much better. Much better in this one. Josh Hutcherson, you can die. I hate you.
Wow.
Man, do I hate him. Says Bridge of Terabithia. We need a new teen boy to get up here. Woody Harrelson is fantastic. Elizabeth Banks is in it, and she is phenomenal. Yeah. She plays this up-class, uptight, super crazy person, and she nails it. I was like...
She really disappears in that role.
Yeah. Really good for her. But as for camera, my wife didn't like it. It's got that kind of shaky, not handheld, but kind of in the movie, kind of trying to push
in the moment. Yeah.
Really, I think it works really well. And then later when it hits the actual games and they're running through the jungle stuff, it works really well. There's a couple of powerful scenes that there's one where she befriends a character and the character dies, and I was like, wow, I don't cry at movies, but if I did, right there, I was really big fan. So can't wait for the next 2. It's usually rare with these things.
Yeah.
What did I say? What did I give it? I gave it a B. I can't quite give it an A. I mean, it's good, but...
All right, I think it has its admirable qualities, but I think it's not without its faults. I give it a C+. I think that the performances are good. I actually like Josh Hutcherson in the role, because I bought the idea of him as not being as capable as Jennifer Lawrence. He kind of leans on her because he was raised a baker, she hunted, and was kind of a fighter, and so they sort of, and I thought one interesting aspect of it that you didn't bring up is this whole idea of the sort of reality television aspect of it, whereas your chances for survival are higher if you can get sponsors, and the way you get sponsors is by being more charismatic for the camera. And she's really not good at that because she's kind of a loner, but he is definitely using his charm to his advantage, and they sort of complement each other in that way, which I'm sure is something they go into more detail in the book. My problems with the movie is I don't think it's shot very well. I didn't like the shaky camera, and not just because I'm against shaky camera in general, but I felt that it was used in a very specific way to edge around the violence. I felt like it was, because It's
they
a
had to make it
PG-13 movie.
yeah.
It's a PG-13 movie, and it's going for that Twilight demographic. It wants to have that Harry Potter Twilight big opening weekend, all that kind of stuff to be PG-13, which obviously that worked. My problem with it is it's not honest to the subject matter of the story. You're dealing with kids who are killing kids, and there's a few moments in the movie where it really comes to this emotional high point where you're really supposed to like feel the dread and the ugliness of what this is really about, because you're dealing with you got to get sponsors and I lived through it and we're dressed like clowns basically and and it's a sci-fi world and then finally you get to the point where kids are killing each other and it's supposed to just kind of make your stomach drop, but it doesn't, because they're shaking the camera and they're not really owning up to the fact of what this movie's really about, to keep that PG-13 rating.
You hear the weapons hit things, and you see bodies hit the ground, but then it jumps to something else.
Which for me, I find that actually less ethical than to be honest about the brutality of the story. I think it almost weirdly makes light of the subject matter, which is dark. Yeah. But that's interesting for a movie for this demographic, and I think I like the fact that something like this, which we could talk about originality because there's. I think this movie owes a debt to a lot of other movies. Yeah. I mean, obviously it's based on the book, but everyone's been talking about Battle Royale, sure. Everyone, and that's just come out on Blu-ray, by the way.
Boo, yeah.
The Japanese film Battle Royale. There was a British movie called Series 7, The Contenders, very similar. Of course, The Running Man a long time ago.
Yes,
Rollerball. All of which kind of deal in the same similar subject matter. And even Brazil to a certain extent with the upper class and the lower class situation. So I've seen all this stuff before, but I don't think this generation has their version of it. And I think that there's enough good stuff here in the subject matter that I hope a better director comes along, honestly, and picks this up, as like the Harry Potter movies did, and even the Twilight movies to a certain extent. I would like to see a more visual director, a more daring director, and somebody who has a little bit more of a cinematic scope. It's directed by Gary Ross, who did Pleasantville and Seabiscuit, and he's good. But I think that somebody, I'm just going to throw a name out there, somebody like a Danny Boyle or somebody like a Darren Aronofsky could bring something different to this movie, and I think there's enough interesting stuff here that I'm interested in seeing where it goes, but I felt like this movie played it a little too safe.